Hello, all of you beautiful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Razim, and this is DevTales, where we are going to be working on our SCAR system, or Stories and Creatures in Alternate Realities. The system is available for open playtest on our Discord as well as itch.io. Go take a look at it and let us know what you think. So we're working on that in the upper right. We've got Conrad down there in the bottom left working on a 3D model. He is available for commissions over at zgf.art. And in the upper left we have Plastic Duck Simulator because quack. Oh, and one more thing. I'm using the TF Talkies because, well, I like using them during the DevTales. So, TF me to your heart's content. Alright. That all aside. Let me pull up the note doc. Alright, so first off, we've got a discussion here of does minus accuracy changes affect guaranteed proc chance on conditions and stat changes? Did I put that in? I don't think I did.
I asked you that, and then you told me to put it in.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have accuracy up right now, increasing proc on stat changes by 5%.
Well, do we want to keep that?
Oh,
wait. No, I guess that's not the actual question there.
Yeah, the question is, does it function like bypass accuracy, where it just bypasses the stage entirely? Or will it get affected by this? That's the mechanic question at play there. Because it doesn't matter how much minus accuracy you put on someone if they have bypass accuracy, because that just bypasses the accuracy phase entirely. Conditions, the accuracy phase is technically the percentage roll, but you bypass that effectively if you're at 100%. And the phrasing of it is guaranteed. Like, it's effectively guaranteed proc chance. So, do accuracy stat changes affect that, or no?
Well, we definitely want to unify it either way. So, I guess unless we want to change how it works with bypass accuracy, then I would say no, it does not affect that.
I'm fine with that because you can't put the guaranteed chance on a damaging move. So, this means that if, for example, they buy to 100% on a damaging move for, like, a condition chance, they'll still be affected by the accuracy thing. For dedicated condition moves that have the guaranteed chance, though, they will not be.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Any disagreements?
Nope. Nope. Not an ounce.
Alrighty.
Does it say that somewhere in the document right now, or was this just a errata kind of question?
So, it's mostly errata, I think. I'm gonna double check though, because
We might want to specify somewhere.
it does say in the guaranteed condition and stat change and all that it ensures that the condition will trigger. but it still requires the soul check. Which I guess we should also probably just word change to application. But yeah.
Where's the application thing that you're saying? Should be changed?
In the trait description itself, not in like the brief description. Because it kind of mentions it properly in the guaranteed condition version of it. Not in this guaranteed stat change. That probably also needs updated in the brief. But in the actual, like, you know, expanded out, detailed explanation, this should be page 107 and 108 for guaranteed stat change and condition. Also, we never actually updated the section in the condition move traits that makes it so you don't have to purchase percent chance for conditions.
Okay. Sorry, one thing at a time here.
Yeah.
All right, so guaranteed. All right, so let's see here. Alright, when attempting to apply a buff to yourself or an ally, or a debuff to your target, you will need to purchase this per effect you wish to apply. This increases chance for the stat change to trigger by 10%. Alright.
Yeah, so instead of a soul check, we should probably say an application roll or something.
Yeah.
To standardize. And that'll need to be changed in the chance and the guaranteed.
Yeah, standardizing that wording is a good idea. I'm gonna put that in the notes, but I've changed it there. Alright, I got that done. I will probably just treat this as a hot fix, though.
Yeah.
I don't want
It's
to.
literally just a standardization.
Yeah. Alright, so what was the next thing you were talking about?
Also, in the stat changes section, like the brief description, we did say, strike out the do keep in mind that when a buff is being applied, you do not need to purchase the chance for them if it's applying to yourself or an ally. You didn't remove it from the condition move trait section. So condition move trait still says that it's...
What page?
Also 108.
Oh, down
Here,
there.
I'll like highlight. Yeah, right there. It wasn't updated in that section.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Oh, I thought you went off to stream.
And I am going to do that.
Alright, see you later.
Alright, bye, Master. Wee wee.
Okay, so... What am I doing in here?
Here, I'll just do it. Where's... I don't know, generally do strike through. Where's that format? Text, strike through. That section.
Oh, I see. I see what was wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that... Alright. Okay, so there's that dealt with. Next up. So we had, I put in, I was going to talk about this last week, but, I guess we can hold off on the classes idea, though, until things are a bit more further along. But essentially, I kind of was tossing around the idea of having our own classes, sort of, where they basically, you could just be a generalist where you don't get a bonus or a negative, but then you can pick a class and, like, you go with Berserker and you might have bonus or a discount on purchases that lean towards melee weapons, but you'd have increased costs when trying to pick up magic, for example. Those kinds of things.
Well, I am actively working on the perk system, so...
Well, the perk system wasn't necessarily classes, but that is something that we could tie into those.
I mean, I still don't really, like, feel the best about doing dedicated class stuff.
Neither do I.
The idea behind the perks is that they will give you that sort of class optionality.
Yeah, we could just pass on it.
Yeah. Especially considering that, like, you know, we've intentionally made a bunch of this stuff be as grab-baggy as possible, so people just pick out the things they want anyway. Like, if I want to have a Berserker character, I'll just build them to be a Berserker with, like, the traits and, like, skills that I pick up.
I think the closest we will get to classes is probably further down the line, having guides to play styles that will give you that same kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Like little playstyle guides.
Yeah. Which, like, also, I haven't been working on this too much because I've been working on the character sheet and all that stuff instead with that ridiculous encoding, but I have been coming up with, like, a standardized list of names for, like, very common move trait things. Like combinations.
Oh, yeah.
Like Zim wanted me to. Yeah. I've just been working on that slowly in the background, like, nothing of note, but just, like, me just going, like, by the way, I'm still working on that.
There we go. I put the link in dev for people to take a peek at. I am going to...
Oh, one more, because that's probably going to be a longer discussion. This one should be relatively quick. How do we feel about socketed gear? I know we... Where is that tab? One of these. I think it was this one. No, that's not the one. There it is. So I know we have plans for an aspected trait. But I was thinking, you know, kind of like Diablo's sockets, where you put gems in there.
Rewards and gems.
Yeah. I was thinking that sockets could be a very interesting thing, especially allowing some more dynamism with weapons.
I know we had some kind of stuff for magical weapon effects that, like, I guess we could adapt into that. One of which being the morphic trait. That was for, like, shape changing. But, I mean, we kind of already had at least, like, a little bit of stuff like that for it, so...
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, like, the item would be socketed, and you could just pull out and put in gems as you pleased, or whatever.
Yeah, I figured that this was the squirrel thing.
Yeah.
And I was just pointing out that, like, you know, while it's not exactly a trait that we had planned out, we kind of had, like, other traits that were like kind of like on the like I'm trying to say like on the same like creativity level of it. So like yeah, that's fine. It's just also likely going to be obviously like, you know, an intrinsic trait.
Yeah, I don't see why
Yeah.
it couldn't be just an intrinsic trait that somebody or that we just add to the list. If a
Yeah.
person wants that ability, they can have
Yeah,
it.
because it has the socket or it doesn't. It's an intrinsic. But yeah, no, we could stick that in for sure. Like I can just like make a note that when I go back to expanding out this again, in the because this is a more like magical effect, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't have to be. I guess it doesn't have to be if in like a sci-fi setting, but
Yeah, I was thinking that it could give various other abilities as well. And, like, the gems could carry various abilities. But that's something that we can expand the system on later.
which, but yeah, no, we could definitely add that in, I think. I'm probably, at least not for a good long time, going to be designing the effects for various, like, socketed things that you can stick in there, but, Burr, I could still make the trait and then basically go, like, work with your storyteller to figure out what each thing does, which I don't like just shoving work on the storyteller like that, but also, like, people are gonna come up with custom stuff anyway, like, come on.
Yep.
Yeah, but having a list of our own is always good. It at least
Yeah,
gives
I'm
a
just more
foundation
pointing
to
out
build
that, like, I'm
onto.
not... Yeah, it's just more of a thing where I'm pointing out that it's going to be a good while before I'll have time to work on that. I have a very long list currently.
Well, it doesn't have to be you either.
Well, no, but it is in the weapon traits thing, and that got moved over to me, so that's, like, by default kind of in my responsibility wheel.
Fair. I'll probably work on coming up with a list myself then, as well.
Alright.
Of various
Cool.
gems, but as for the socket trait itself and how many sockets and such, I'll probably leave that to you to balance out.
Yeah, I was going to ask a design question here.
Sure.
Do we want there to be small, medium, and large sockets, or do we just want there to be, you have X sockets?
You have
when
X
put it on
sockets.
You have X sockets, we don't want
Yeah.
small, medium, large? Cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. That would be doing sizes would overcomplicate it. There's no reason.
Well, it would be in lieu of having more sockets. It would be going like, which design choice do we want to do? Do we want to have one socket per item but have varying sizes, or do we want to have like X sockets where you just expand the amount of sockets you got?
Yeah, just X sockets. It's just easier.
X sockets, cool. Yeah. I mean, basically, this is me asking, like, you know, which version of scalability we want.
Oh no, I understand, but at the same time, if you get into sizes, then somebody that's got this fire gem here can't, and then they get the bigger socket. Well, what do I do with this fire gem now? Well, you can now add on this. Well, what if I want to be able to take it out later? So I just do number. It'll be easier.
Yeah.
Or if it's size, you're going to have people that are like, well, why can't I just smash it down to a smaller size?
Which, like, you know, you probably could. It would just remove some of the effect.
I'm not
If you
going
want to break a large into two mediums, like, you know, sure, go ahead, but now there's two mediums.
Oh, I got the full iron stone, but I want the cracked version. Can I crack it?
Oh god.
Classic. But yeah, no, in that case, I'll just be doing X. It'll probably have a scaling cost, like, per slot that you're putting on it, because at that point, if you're adding on, like, a shit ton of slots,
Agreed. And probably limit it to, or also tie it to the tiers. Because, like, I could see tier 1 having one socket, tier 2 definitely would have one, but I'm not sure about 2 being possible on that, and so on.
I was going to do the same thing that I did for other things like that, where I basically bundle it into thirds. Where 1 and 2 can have 1, 3 and 4 can have 2, 5 and 6 can have 3, and then legendary's legendary. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
If you want to make a legendary item where it's oops all sockets, yeah, sure, go ahead. It's a legendary item. Make a legendary item that has 10 sockets. That's pretty legendary to me.
It's literally just a stick with a bunch of holes in it.
Look, if you have the magical death stick where you're able to slot in 10 different gem effects on it, I don't give a shit how shitty the stick is at base. That is now a nuclear weapon.
Ah, the stick of stickiness, I see. Q random merchant selling this stick full of holes for like 5 gold pieces. Players don't know what to do with it. Later on, random city guard buys it back for 3,000 gold pieces because it is dangerous.
Look, it's the B and S stick. It's brown and sticky because it's brown and it's a stick made of stick and sticky, and it's bullshit.
Alright, also with the socketed gear, I was thinking for armor as well on that.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that was specified.
I'm keeping to the same rule on it. It's going to be the same.
Well, yeah, just wanted to make sure it was clear that I was thinking that it would also apply to armor, not just weapons.
I was gonna include it with weapons, armor. I still have the shield stuff laying around, shields and accessories, because it's gonna be the same across all of it, basically.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome
Now-
back.
I heard mention of the shit stick. The bullshit stick.
Yeah, I was commenting on how, like, legendary weapon, it just has 10 fucking sockets on it, and the base weapon is garbage. But at that point, I don't care if it's a stick. You can slot 10 different gems into it, and that is now a nuclear weapon.
AKA the shit stick.
Yeah.
But yes.
Alright.
Oh gosh, small derail, but could you imagine a small child with that stick? They don't know what they found. They just found a cool shiny stick, and they're waving it around in town. But you know what it is.
Who gave the kid the Rod of Wonders?
Yeah.
So, I guess to have a little baseline here, actually, before we move on from socketed gear, I guess some examples would be obviously something to change weapon type. For the damage. I guess we could have, like, one that goes into armor and increases, like, probably not negation, but soak.
Soak, or makes the armor so that way you can have higher evasion.
Those effects sound okay?
I mean, there is already an armor trait thing that helps with the evasion thing, but, yeah, so long as it doesn't work with that, or, I mean, when I say with that, I mean, like, lets you overcap that, because I don't want people gaining evasion from having armor on, just for balance reasons.
No, it would just
If they want
reduce the
that, they
cap.
pick up specialties for that.
Yeah, it would just reduce the cap.
Or just have it, like, count as giving the trait.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That kind of stuff is perfectly fine, though.
I'm assuming adding elements to the weapons.
Yeah,
adding
changing it
adding
and such.
elements, that kind of stuff, yeah. Probably also, like, having ones where, like, oh, hey, hitting with this weapon now applies this condition. Or, yada yada.
Condition application, possibly range nonsense if you want to be silly about it.
Yeah, although we already kind of have that, but yeah.
Oh, are we going to have the FF12 sextant nonsense where you slap somebody with it and they get a buff?
Technically, you could already have that.
Crossbow of healing.
Yeah, we could TF2 a little bit. But yeah, those kinds of effects are fine.
All right.
Like-
Do we want the gems to come in tiers, or just flat? This is what you have available till the end of the campaign.
Well,
Or
I mean, if it's
maybe
an
we can-
item, it should.
Idea on this. They are like their effects could be better based on what tier of equipment they're in.
Yeah, either that or we just apply the tier rule to the gems too. But, you know. That also means having to come up with tier effects for all the gems.
Yeah.
I would start with the baseline and see how you feel after you get the initial stuff out, whether or not it feels like they should be tiered.
Actually, we're going to have to tier effect them anyway with either suggestion.
Well, okay, tiered it is.
Because even if we're just coming up with what it does for each of the different weapon tiers, that we're doing the same thing with a different flavor.
Yeah, okay, tiers it is.
Well, it's more a question of, like, do we want, like, right now we currently have, you know, returning cannot be applied to a tier 1 or tier 2 weapon, for example. What I'm thinking is, like, you might have one that adds power. If it's a tier 1 or tier 2, it would add 1 power. Tier 3 or 4, it adds 2. And it's based on what you're putting it into rather than having to get a tier 2 gem. It could just be okay, you've got this gem of power, and you put it into a tier 6 weapon, congrats. It's giving you that effect. If I'm making any sense.
Yeah, now I know that what you're saying is actually different. Okay. I mean, I guess the design choice here is: do we want people to have to pick up new gems, or do we want them to stick with the same gems? Like once they have a gem, that's the gem.
I'd personally rather let them be able to stick with one gem. Because it's also a little more difficult to explain the idea of, yeah, you are upgrading your gem. Like, weapons and armor, yeah, you're maybe upgrading it to a new tier by... I'm looking at this from a crafting standpoint as well, but...
Yeah.
It makes sense that you could, you know, upgrade your weapon, you know, sharpen it or hone the edge, or well, those are both the same thing, but you know what I mean. Armor, you're maybe putting in a plate where you did not think that you would get hit before, etc., etc. I guess you could refine gems, but... It's just a design choice if we want them to have to get new gems, or if they can, or if the gem can be upgraded, or if it can just be, it's based on what it's slotted into.
Yeah. I mean, there's a benefit to that, like simplifying that kind of process and not just having to even worry about it. But I also kind of like the idea of people going like, you know, trying to search for like a high tier gem.
You know, fair. Hi, Kuroy.
Because it also opens up MacGuffin possibilities of finding out that, like, you know, X villain is like, you know, has just sent some henchmen to go raid this forgotten temple where stories say there's a tier 7 gem inside of it and you need to stop that.
Also, with Aspected already having a tier that we got listed, we could always start certain things at a higher tier period, like Aspected.
All right. So we'll go the route of they are just separated into tiers. Okay.
Yep. It also has the benefit of making them work like every other item in the game currently.
Yep.
Which, that is a benefit, because standardization. Someone's gonna get like a tier 5 gem way too early. They're gonna be pogging about it at some point with this game.
Yeah, but you know those people tend to get their butts kicked a little surprise quick. You can do damage, but so can your enemy.
Yeah.
Sorry, you lost me with what you're talking about now?
Oh, we were just talking about how someone's gonna get their hands on a high tier gem way too early, and they're gonna let the power go to their heads and get punished.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's gonna be really funny. I don't know if it'll happen in one of the ZGF games, but at some point with a game, with a game using our systems, that's gonna happen to someone, and it's gonna be really funny.
Can you stand up against this power 5 gem? Yes. Whack.
The equivalency of, dude, that's that may be a tier 5 gem, but I'm wearing spect heavy armor against your damage type. What did you think that was going to do? You have chipped me slightly harder.
All right. So there's several tabs in the bottom, and we'll go over those in a moment. There's 2 new ones on this front page because I reorganized it so that way I could read things better from what Raijin gave me. So almost everything this first page has already been previewed. I'm going to have you go over to the right slightly, and you'll see the 2 new ones that I started designing and held up on to get approval on. Reckless and Forethought.
Okay.
So with Reckless, the idea is that, well, this is a forceful perk, and I'll mention something here in a moment. I'm going to go over this first. As part of this, you get to choose to make an action Reckless, in which you increase your crit threat on any expertise roll from 10s to 9s, but you also increase your fail chance from 1s to 2s, since we did decide that mechanic was going to be here now.
Yep.
So this would be allowed. Currently, I think I have it equal to your dots and force per short rest.
Yep. Which it is still a slight benefit because positive crit is slightly better than negative crit.
Yes. And it's easy to balance it this way and make it so that way they can use it more frequently, basing it off a short rest.
So what I'm hearing is, if possible, Rain should totally pick this up, so that way he can kill all of the team faster.
Yes. Any thoughts on that, Zim?
I think this is looking good.
All right. Then for logic, the last baseline one that I created is Forethought. As a quick action, you may identify a logical course of action and declare it, either for yourself or another individual. If the chosen action is completed by the end of your next turn, the one who performed it adds your logic dots to the expertise roll of that action, and you may use this perk a number of times equal to your dots in logic, and you regain them after a short rest. AKA, shout hit that guy specifically.
So basically a logic assist.
Yes.
Or limited logic assist.
Yep. You basically throw it out there, and if somebody completes it, it gives them a small bonus.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
Perfect.
it's good and very strong, and people are going to use it a lot, but that's fine.
So this is where things are going to get interesting. I haven't started it yet, but there's a perk Singular 2, and there will be a perk Singular 3. I plan on making 3 sets of these. So 3 for each expertise base. There's nothing really on page 2, but there's also perk combos now. If you go down to that tab at the bottom.
Where am I going?
Oh, okay. So it's going to be...
Yep, perk combos tab at the bottom.
Ah.
One to the left. There you go. So I will be making, I want to make ultimately 3 sets of the singular ones, but I also wanted to include at least some combination ones where you have to have, in this case, The first one, disruptive, at least 3 dots between forceful and cunning to take it. And I've got 9 examples here. The first one is disruptive once per scene. As a reaction, when an enemy makes a roll using an expertise, you may impose a penalty equal to the average of your force and cunning dots. This reduces the number of dice they roll for that action. Thoughts, questions?
My only issue with that is the average part of it. Just because, well, I mean, it is just dividing by 2. Some people get finicky about having to do math.
Yeah.
Also, congrats on that 295 stream streak, Ido.
Yep, the only reason why it has to be divided by 2 is alternately I could do it the higher of either forceful or cunning.
No, we'll stick with the average.
Average is more balanced.
Yes.
Because otherwise what you're going to get is someone's going to go all in on one and get just enough to pick this up and automatically be rolling, like, reducing by 5.
Yeah.
Every time they use it.
Yep. Which is why I stuck with divide by 2. And you're going to hear that term, unfortunately, a lot in these combo ones. Were you about to say something, though, Tal?
I was just going to say that's, it is appropriate balance, though, so, like, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Empathetic and logic, I came up with a reasonable course. Once per scene as a quick action, you may provide guidance following a failed expertise roll made earlier in the same scene. If the individual repeats the same action on their next turn, they may add a number of dice equal to their average, or the average of your empathy and logic dots to the roll. AKA, do that again.
Basically, try again. Try again. Do it, better. But do it better.
Yeah, I like this.
The next...
Yeah. It also specifically is failed roll, so that also means that basically you can't just go, hey, I didn't roll as high as I wanted, try again. It's just you actually failed, and now you can try again, but better.
Yep, encourages some level of botches, because if somebody just really screws up, they can just be like, hey, friendo, help. Make it better next time.
How do I not fuck up, real quick, asking for a friend?
So if I wanted to do this less bad next time, asking for a friend, how would that person do this but less bad next time?
But yeah, I'm fine with it because it is also after a failed roll.
All right.
If it was just like, repeat and you get a bonus, I don't like that as much, but yeah. It's failed, so I'm fine with that.
Neat. So the next one is take by hand, that once per scene. When aiding another in a task, you may choose to empower your support. The aided individual adds a number of dice equal to the average of your instinct and charming dots to this roll, in addition to the standard die given by aiding another. You may use this feature a number of times per long rest equal to the average of your instinct and charming for now. This one I kind of argued with a little bit of myself, but... I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'm gonna double check the wording on something real quick.
I thought about putting in the caveat that nobody else can assist other than you. Or reducing it to a once-a-day thing.
I double checked. There is not a minimum of 1 dice on assist.
Gotcha.
That's what I was double checking real quick.
Balance thoughts on this one, though?
Once per scene.
Yes, and usable up to a number of times average per day or per long rest.
Design question. Are we planning on there being any of these for teamwork whatsoever?
No.
No.
We were leaving teamwork alone because teamwork is reasonably strong on its own right.
I was about to say, it's kind of the best one on its own anyway. But I wanted to know for that, basically.
Because you can't
If you
use
use it
teamwork.
properly.
You can't use teamwork for most of your roles, but
Teamwork is this game's guidance. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if you use it right, it's the strongest one by far. But yeah, no. Because none of these are going to be teamwork related, I'm fine putting teamwork adjacent things on there. I just wanted to make sure we weren't taking away design choices down the line in case we were doing that.
Nope, no teamwork planned. Otherwise, I would already had one for it.
Yep, that's fair. Number dice equal to the average of your instinct and charming dots. I mean,
this one definitely feels much more powerful.
Yeah, as I said, I kind of argued with myself on this one.
it sort of also removes a lot of the requirement for, like, you know, teamwork going with teamwork with this. Because it is once per scene, but
I could, as I said, reduce it to once per long rest.
Because this is in addition to being able to assist someone else. So it would be your
Alternatively-
teamwork on top of this.
Alternatively, I could make it, or I could put in the thing that only you can assist this person then. So that way it's not two chefs in the kitchen, it's just one.
I think I'd be more okay with it with that.
yeah.
Alright, let me make a
And
note.
just make sure it is regardless of any feats that they may have.
Yeah. Because then, technically speaking, you could have two people that have this and my axe feat, and then now they're both adding, like, 7 dice to the roll.
Yep.
Each.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, I was thinking, I thought about it for a long time, and I was like, I'm just going to bring it to the table and see which balance options sound good, or if we just want to scrap it.
In this way, effectively, by using this perk, you are literally taking somebody by the hand.
Yes.
Yeah. You could also have the joke of effectively the my being italicized. Take my hand.
That is up to the particular character, whether or not that's italicized or not.
I know. I'm just more pointing out that for it being you and you alone requirement.
Yep. Oh, why is the word holistic in that one? Whatever. Holistic state. It's the same thing as flow state, except opposite. As a quick action, you can enter a harmonic state, which lasts until you choose to end it, are knocked unconscious, or until the end of the current scene. While in this state, you may not use aggressive actions or debuffs, but any healing or defensive actions gain a bonus dice equal to your average of your instincts and empathetic dots. As in, we should give this to Ren. You gain 1 exhaustion at the end of this benefit. You may use this feature a number of times per long rest equal to your secondary scale. So literally matching up with the flow state, except directly opposite.
Which one was flow state?
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
there it
instinct
is.
one, where basically it's the one where you can't take defensive maneuvers except for cleanse, and you add extra dice.
Yeah, 1 die to every roll using an expertise.
Which this is technically stronger, but it also is defensive and healing only. So
Yeah, which I felt comfortable adding more dice to.
Well, I will
because
also...
I also took away debuffs.
I'll also point out that there's supposed to be multiple levels of these, so we would, might be better to have the base one only add one, and then later on it could be the, switched over to the average.
I could do that.
Yep. I mean, that's a pretty easy upgrade.
Yep.
So, you know.
That'll. Yep.
I clicked over in perks general. I'm clicking away from that because it's too funny and I'm going to laugh.
Oh, I put that in yellow for a reason, by the way. I'm not actually serious about it. I just put it in because Nova. This was
I
Nova.
clicked over, I saw yellow, I looked, and I had to click away because I was about to start laughing too hard.
That was a joke.
Oh boy.
But
I mean, I
We'll get
did
there.
literally make, from character creation, by the way, the entire joke with Nova was the whole dumb luck thing, and the universe looked at that and went, but what if he was the luckiest boy that ever exists?
and then I made that's why that perk tree came about, because I was sitting there, I was like, Nova. Here's a perk that is Nova incarnate. But alright, so back to the combinations. The next one's Make It Work. Once per scene, you may have a Make It Work moment, allowing you to force a solution through grit and creativity. Before the outcome of a roll is revealed, you may add a number of dice equal to the average of your forceful and innovative dots to that roll. You may make this feature a number of times equal to the average of your forceful and innovative dots per long rest. It is a screw it, we're slapping this in here with duct tape and WD-40. And
I was thinking duct tape MacGyver moment. Let's go.
Yes. I considered upping the crit threat to that roll because you're MacGyvering and getting additional dice, but I wasn't sure if that was a good limiter or too much.
That would likely send the value of this into the negatives.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Every crit threat that you like remove or add that like basically take 0.1 value from every single dice in the roll.
Yep. Okay.
So
Alternatively, I can also make it mirror the reckless in conjunction, but I felt that was too samey. So I
yeah, we shouldn't mirror too many times.
Yeah, we want these to be unique enough. I like this one.
Yeah, this
Squirrel
one's
will absolutely pick this up.
I'm not surprised. Many people will. The next one is an interesting one because it uses Tal's favorite clerical dice, but in a different way. Perspective planning. Once per short rest before any scene, you may declare that you are formulating a plan. Roll a number of dice equal to the average of your logic and innovative dots. Record these in your planning pool, and during the scene, you may use a reaction to swap out one die from your planning pool with a die just rolled, and it is a swap, not a replace. Dice in your planning pool can only be used during that scene and expire at its end.
Yep. So that means whatever you replace is now in your pool, and you can swap it out sometime later.
Yes. Not with
so
enemies
I'm
specifically.
required to like this, but you know.
Yep. Bear in mind, you can't do that with enemies. I made that an end cap.
I literally don't even care. Like, I'm required to like this. It could be garbage, and I'd still like it.
Makes note here.
It's not
make
garbage,
note-
by the way. It's actually a really fun mechanic, I swear.
Makes note. Make a garbage clerical thing just to tempt Tal into taking something that's absolute garbage for funds.
You're acting like I don't do that already. What are you talking about?
I'm kidding.
Where are you on?
I like the idea of probably as an upgrade having it be where the planning pool is for the entire until your long rest.
The reason why I don't is because there's another one that has a pool similar to this that does last the entire day. Which is, I believe it's Sip of a Novelty. Yes. So that one you roll at the beginning of a day, and you have.
It's the innovative basic one.
Yep. Sip of novelty, so dead center of all of them. This one allows you to roll at the beginning of the day, and these dice replace and get expended until you take the top, or until you take the feature that allows you to swap instead.
Yeah, so having one that lasts the entire day is already kind of a capstone thing.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yep, this one's a little bit more powerful up front because it begins at the scene and ends with you being able to swap even with enemies.
Yeah.
With its capstone, which means that if you steal a 1 from a player, you can give that to an enemy and steal a 10.
Yep.
Contingent on you having reactions to do so, of course.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but by God, is Vane picking that up, by the way? To be fair, any character of mine that has a decent amount of logic and or innovative is picking that up, if that ends up making it, because it's my favorite damn mechanic. I love Miracle Dice.
Did you have other concerns about it, Zim?
No, I mean that wasn't really a concern. That was just a
An option.
upgrade option.
Yeah, this one I think I'm going to keep the scene specifically.
Yeah, if you could swap with enemies, you know, it should be scene specific.
Yep. The last one for the combos is Undercutting Wiles, which is Charming and Cunning. As a quick action, you may demotivate a non-ally target, causing their next roll to have an increased failure chance by 1. You use this feature a number of times per long rest equal to your average of Charming and Cunning. So basically,
cost a reaction.
it costs a quick action to give them for the next turn.
Sorry, yeah.
Yep. But basically, you turn they make 2s also count towards the failure.
Yep. I mean, there could probably be a really good upgrade for making it cost a reaction.
Yes. Easily done.
Yeah, I like this one.
But yeah, that's a good one.
Neat. Now we can finalize my current list and see or I can get an overview of how you guys are feeling about it. And the generals. And the generals have higher costs, 5, 7, 9, 11, because these are your basic ones that anybody can take. It doesn't matter what your expertises are. I just want you to have that many expertise dots, period.
Okay.
Do you actually want me to cover dumb luck?
Hold the line. This hamlet shall not fall.
Rick's triderated my stream with 9 viewers.
Hello there, Rex. So thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. You guys have come into our DevTales session, where we are working on our SCAR system. Big Cake Dino Support. Is this you admitting that it's your birthday?
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, I
Happy
think it
birthday,
is.
Rex.
Happy birthday, Rex.
Oh, do I have to remember how to play the happy birthday song on my guitar? Jeez.
We'll probably hold on or not do a clip tonight just because, you know, dev session, but...
Good night, Mala.
Conrad, I will say that we are teasing Rex. There's a meme about, or a joke about every day being Rex's birthday.
Which is totally true, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely true. It is his birthday every day. Except for one day. Just a random day later this year, doesn't matter.
Also, ouch, Ballas. I didn't get a high.
All right, so do you actually want me to cover dumb luck there, Zim? Do you want me to read this one out? I did spend time balancing it.
Well, real quick, I do have to point out, by the way, Tal, Era, Key, you as well, probably. We're going to need to do a watch party on stream
Oh no.
with
Oh.
last night's stream.
Why?
GibGab so first off, GibGab did not realize that the characters from Super Smash Brothers came from their own games.
What?
Excuse me?
What?
Gabby,
Yeah.
Gabby, come.
Gabby,
Are
come
you
here.
out there? Get out front.
Come on.
But it says in the menus what game they're from.
You literally know what version of the game they're from if there's multiple games.
So, yeah. There is one that I will spoil for Tal, Rex. There is one that I'm going to spoil. So, that led into GibGab going through the character list in order to, you know... he went through the character list to... you know, try and guess where everything was from. Oh, I'm telling them about the watch party, GibGab. They have summoned
Gabby.
you.
Gabby, continues them.
So, GibGab got to Simon. GibGab had no idea where Simon was from. We told GibGab that, or I told GibGab that, you know, his last name was Belmont. GibGab still had no idea. And considering the number of times that you in particular bring up that, you must be the Belmont.
You must be the Belmont. I literally had to stop myself from saying that exact line when you brought it up, by the way. I was like,
I
should I
know.
say it right now? No, I'm not going to say it right now.
We'll watch it later. Gabby,
Oh my god.
Gabby, the menus tell you what game they're from.
They tell you what game. If there's multiple games, they even tell you what version of the game they're from.
And if there's multiple versions of the game that they're in, it also lists them. Yes, Gabby! Since Melee!
The number of times that he guessed Street Fighter for characters. Oh.
Is this also the time to bring up that on a lot of their character screens in the background, it will literally have a logo of the game they come from?
Yeah, but the logos I don't think are as helpful as the fact that if you go and find their trophies or icons in the menus, it will literally list out the games, the year the game came out, and what system they're on since Melee. Every single one of them has this.
GibGab, you know what else has a ton of characters? You know what else has a ton of characters, GibGab? Basically every fucking game. Every fucking fighting game has a shit ton of characters. Hell, I could make a fucking roster out of just the various COD characters from the campaigns throughout the years. That doesn't mean I'm guessing that the various COD characters are in Super Smash Bros.
I'm also going to put it out there that the PlayStation Smash clone game also only had characters from other games. Just so you're aware, Gabby, this is a common thing.
As far as I'm aware, the only Smash Bros. Clone that actually has its own original character was Multiversus. And even then, it only had one. Which was a dog. I don't remember the name of it, but... Rain Dog. There are so many of these kinds of these Smash Bros. Clones. And they all only use characters from outside of that game?
I think Super Smash Flash also used that. Had some custom ones.
Super Smash Flash?
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of that.
Oh, really?
I think it's a ripoff game.
It's a ripoff. It's Super Smash Flash. It's
It's a Flash version of Super Smash Bros, but they threw in whatever characters they felt like.
Oh, well, that...
So you could have Naruto versus Ichigo versus, like, Rayman. But
So-
no, they have some custom things in there too.
There's only six Street Fighter characters in Super Smash Bros. From Street Fighter, and not all of them are playable. Just gonna put that out there.
Kurai just reminded me that that's where it started. That's where all this started.
You didn't know Pikmin was its own game?
Yeah.
You didn't. Pikmin's newer. How could you?
Like, if it was Ice Climbers, I can I can understand.
I mean, even Ness.
Ness, I could understand a little bit.
Gab, I watched a video
Go ahead.
about Pikmin 2 days ago.
People really love Pikmin. A lot of people really love Pikmin. It has a cult following that has been screaming for another Pikmin game for the last 4 years.
So yeah, back on task, I think, here, but yeah, look forward to that. We're gonna need to find time for the four of us and Gab to sit down, watch through that recording, and we're definitely going to record the reactions of, all of us to Gab.
Oh boy. Gabby, I'm not sorry about the words that will come out of my mouth about you. But, though seriously, did you want me to cover Dumb Luck?
Let's do it.
Alright, so Dumb Luck. You have to have at least 5 attributes, obviously. For Dumb Luck's first perk, at any given time, once per long rest, when you roll a 1, you may immediately reroll the die at the cost of 1 exhaustion. If the rerolled die results in a 10, the exhaustion cost is waived. Just once a day, just reroll the 1 right away. Good reflexes. Once in a long rest, when you or an ally rolls a botch within line of sight, you may use your reaction to negate the effects of that botch. This prevents any negative consequences, but also removes the boost die that would have been gained from this failure. Against all judgment, once per long rest, you may choose to take an action that would normally result in a penalty due to poor tactics, positioning, or timing. In this moment, you suffer no penalty for your poor decision. It just inexplicably works.
Oh boy.
I could hear Zim's pain.
And the last one is right place, wrong time. Once per long rest, you may use your reaction to negate a critical success rolled by anyone within line of sight, reducing to a regular success. This doesn't happen through skill, just sheer inexplicable dumb luck.
Yeah, we're keeping it. Nova. Nova is not allowed to pick it up just because he already has all of this.
I was about to ask, so are you banning me from it, or are you going to make it a required pickup? I know which one it is now.
Lol.
You already have it. You cannot double down.
I just want to point out that all of this started because I made Nova's gimmick at the beginning be that his natural defense, the flavoring on it was that he was lucky because the joke was dumb luck. And the universe decided that it was going to double my joke and leave me with it. The universe decided to agree.
All right. So, continuing on, the next one I have is Push Beyond. Once per scene as a quick action, you may choose to double the number of dots applied from a single expertise to your next roll. The action costs 1 exhaustion to use. You may use this feature a number of times per long rest equal to your primary scale. So once per scene, you could be like, well, I've got Forceful 2. I'm going to make it 4 for this roll. In exchange, you take an exhaustion penalty. With an end cap of doubling your expertise no longer costs 1 exhaustion.
Yeah, I approve.
Neat. Nothing from Tal because I'm assuming he's dying of laughter right now because Dumb Luck was accepted.
I mean, I am still dying about that, but I was also just more thinking about how to formulate my my thing with this, which is just be careful with these sorts of things because this is the kind of one that rewards min-maxers.
Yeah, at the same time, we can't prevent them from happening.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not against it per se, but, like, maybe not removing the exhaustion at the end.
Okay, remove that part, you think?
Yeah. Because there needs to be at least some sort of cost for people who pick this up and also simultaneously sprint down to get 5 in a,
Yeah.
Whatever other tree they want.
True. I also have the requirements higher for the generals right now at 5, 7, 9, 11 before you can take them.
Well, yeah, but you start with 4 dots.
True, I might have to do this better then.
Yeah, you start with 4 dots, and so you
Here, I'll remove the 7, 9, 11 out of these. I will come up with better float adjustments later. Based off of singulars.
Yeah.
But that could come later.
So the effect is fine, it's just also, like, we're going to need to handle that one in particular carefully.
Yep, I will make sure to remember that. All right, so the next one is Helping Hand. Whenever you aid another, either through a skill check or in combat aid action, you gain an inspiration dice. This dice can be used on any expertise roll and persist until your next long rest. You can only have 1 inspiration die at a time. Basically, if you help somebody, you get rewarded with a bonus die.
And you get the more value out of this, the more often you help.
Pretty much.
But
But you only get to hold on 1 die at a time at first.
Yeah, but so you don't get a pool. It's just,
Yep.
A die.
Works for me.
If you're a serial helper, you get extra dice. It's just you also have to use it on yourself still.
Yep. Now we're going to go to the top and scroll over to the right. You can skip Master Chef. That was an idea that was given to me today. I need a workshop, but not on the tabs, on the actual sheet. There.
Okay, yeah, so not a tree.
Yep, the not a tree. Waiting for Zim to catch up.
Oh, over there.
Scroll
Yep,
bar,
there you
right?
go.
Yeah.
Yep. So the not a tree are just going to be a list of just general ones that are out there that you can just grab that will have a dot association, but are not going to be part of a tree. Just little extra flair things. I have 3 examples in there currently. The first one is Last Breath. When you are knocked unconscious or killed, you may use your reaction to activate any quick action or perk that uses a quick action before going down. This cannot be used to activate any healing ability. You may use this feature once per scene. Add a number of, or once per scene. Oh, I forgot to include the actual amount of times. Per long rest equal to your secondary scale. So basically, if this would be something that if you're about to go down, you can take one last swing or something like that with this perk.
Yeah.
Hey Zim. Bosses should have desperation attacks.
That's up to the GM.
Yep.
That can be done.
Because now the players get them.
If you take the perk, you get them.
Yep. Of which bosses get everything players do, so bosses could take perks too.
Yep.
Some of these, I like that one. I'm debating whether we want to have that as a perk or have it as a feat.
it might be better as a feat, but there's going to be some overlap with this kind of stuff anyway because effects.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, kind of what I'm going, like, what I'm thinking here is, like, if it's not in a tree, I feel like it should just be a feat.
The reason why I want to make sure to have a grab bag of just general ones is if somebody's in a tree and they don't want to take something completely different or something from that specific tier of the tree, this gives them an option to just grab something.
Well, for that, what we can do is instead they can just get a free feat. I could see that being the case. Like, you don't want one of your perks or one of the upgrades? Here, have a free feat. Hello?
I mean, if perks are feat equivalent and or slightly stronger.
True. That is a concern. I don't know. It's something that we can think about.
Yeah, we can consider it. The next one I put in here is coin flip. As a quick action, you may take a gamble, roll a die. If the result is odd, you suffer a +1 difficulty on your next roll. If it's even, you gain a -1 difficulty on your next roll. You may use this feature a number of times per short rest equal to your secondary scale. For the people that like gambling.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's the gambling card, but in
Yes.
the game.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep. Next one is knocking on heaven's door. If you're suffering from a wounded status, you may use a quick action to push through the pain. Spend 1 exhaustion to reduce the difficulty of your next roll by 1. So if you're wounded and you spend 1 exhaustion, you can negate the negative of being wounded on your next expertise roll. AKA Nova's new favorite ability. Being asleep.
So yeah, here's a quick thing about that. Being winded, I mean, or having wounds and all that, or being winded, doesn't actually give you difficulty. So
I thought it did.
no,
No, that affects your
What am I-
HP.
What am I confusing that with then? Maybe I was confusing with a different system because I was also working in a World of Darkness thing at the time.
yeah, that's a different system. We do not
Okay.
impose difficulty for being wounded. What we do impose is if you perform an action while winded, for example, you will get exhaustion.
So I might have to change that or just delete it. Got it.
Yep. I mean, you know, like a pretty easy one is in exchange for like an exhaustion and a quick action, negate the effects of a ongoing, wound you have.
In other words, like, say you have a limb wound that would, in fact, reduce your accuracy. Or, well, not a limb wound, but like an eye
Well,
wound.
let's say your leg got hit and your movement speed is halved. Like suffer exhaustion and your movement speed is treated as normal.
Yeah.
Whether that be for an amount of turns or until the end of the scene is, up for debate.
The only issue with that is a lot of storytellers don't implement that.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a
but there's
storyteller
also
problem.
that's a storyteller, but that's also well, I guess the thing that I should say is there are feats out there already that are situational at best when it comes to whether or not it'll be useful in any given game depending on the storyteller.
Fair.
So having other effects in the game that like might not be useful with every given storyteller is fine. Like, for example, you're gonna want that in my games. You're gonna want that.
Oh, the negating the effect?
Negating the effect, because I absolutely impose negative effects on my wounds.
Yeah, fair.
I will reworkshop that at another time then. But
Yeah.
that's what I had ready so far. I am going to be coming up with one for Charming that is a perform mechanic. I haven't figured out the exact details, but I've got some thoughts in my head. Master Chef was another one that was brought up by Raijin that I think I'm going to go ahead and work on, including possibly making it so that way they can make little snacks.
Finger foods, nice.
Little boost snacks, or maybe little Healy snacks. Something silly.
Yep.
Tasty meals on the go.
I mean, I guess so long as it doesn't give extra, you could have an effect that like restores a boost die or something, so long as it doesn't give you an extra.
One of the tiers has to be called Bento Box.
We got time to workshop this. By the way, Key was helping me with this, so that's why it's an era takeover version named at the top. But that's what I have for now. I intend to make at least one other set for each expertise, if not a third. And then I've got an even balance right now of combo perks. If those happen, it'll be because they came to my head and they happened.
All right.
You might want to organize a slight chart so you know what gaps you have or don't have.
I would, but there's 7 expertises, and 7 factorial minus the doubles of themselves is like 99 options.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
It is. Yeah, I know. That's why I was saying, like, you might want to make a little table that literally just tracks which ones you have and don't have.
The other thing is, I discussed this with her when we were trying to come up with the combo options. There are some expertises that are just opposite ends of their dichotomy, like logic and instinct, and those are very hard to put together.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying so that way you keep track of what you already have and don't have.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to work on I'm primarily going to be focused on the singulars first.
Yeah, the singulars definitely need, like, actual attention.
But I'll get the charts that are currently done. I'll get a second and third one in, hopefully in the coming weeks, and get a handful more of generals in, because I want a substantial amount of generals, and then I will let whatever perk combos come in. Right now there's each combo currently in the combo thing is used twice currently. So right now there is an even balance. Neat. That's where we're at. I'm done now. You're free, Zim. You can run.
Why am I running?
I don't know. Because
you can, and I'm about to say, hey, we should continue going over the combat section.
Well, something that I've been bringing up the magic system forever.
Yeah.
I really want us to get that going. Especially with Lost in Chaos ramping towards magic like it has been. We need to get an established system sooner rather than later because we need them to test it.
Yep. No, don't. So about that, once I'm finished with this character sheet update, which, I'm working on encoding and all that, so very little actual design work to be left to be done still, and it's only like a handful of pages of like the little tabs that are like not too important.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after that is when I was planning on working on magic system.
All right.
So I will say that's currently on deck in my to-do list. Which is partly why I'm saying that, like, you know, these other things are going to take a while, is because I already have, like, mentally allotted the time and effort it's going to take for designing the magic system.
Be right back, mind.
Fair enough. Because, yeah, I keep jumping around to a bunch of different stuff, and we need to get something settled and straightened down.
Yeah. No, that won't be too hard. It's just also, you know, I'm working on the character sheet day by day with the encoding and all that, and I've been sending you, like, little mini updates about it. So, like, you know that I'm actually doing work on it, but,
Oh, I knew. I didn't doubt you.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, so that way you're being kept apprised of the actual, like, progress that I'm making. Instead of just knowing I'm working on it, you actually know, like, the kind of shit that I've been doing.
Fair enough. Alright, so...
Of the important stuff left, I have to finish encoding the type selector thing. You know the one that I'm talking about, where it will, like, auto-calc?
Yeah.
So I have to finish up that. I have to fill out the not specialties, conditions and utilities page a bit more. I ended up splitting it into persistent conditions, scene conditions, yada yada yada, to help with the tracking. Because, like, you know, scene conditions end when the scene is ended, so I figured those should all be together. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll just, like, relink it again, just so that way you can actually see
I've got
all
it
this stuff.
Here.
Cool. For anyone else, I'll just relink it in Dev. But you know, you can see some of the various encoding stuff. Like, for example, on the damage tracker, if I put 2 lethal and 2 non-lethal, it auto totals up to 4, and the current HP changes based on what you put in your damage tracker. So people don't need to be changing their current HP, they just need to be tracking damage. And then, like, you know, let's say you get your rest, you just delete the non-lethal, and all the lethal stays. It also keeps track of where your unconscious and dead points are. So, like, let's say I just give them, like, a ton of health, and then go over to specialties and give them healthier body. So, you know, now they have 24 max HP. Woohoo. What'd you say?
I like this.
Yep. Now it keeps track of their unconscious and dead points, and there's a little ticker box for if they're stable or not. So even if they're, like, hard negative, they know if they're stabilized or not. Ticker. So that's something that I added in, just because of all that. Another thing that I changed, because otherwise people kept getting confused. Let's say I just stick a 4 in there. Evasions and integrities can no longer go negative. It will not visibly display below 0.
Oh, good.
Like, you know, because even if I put, like, 1,000 in there, it doesn't matter. It just goes to 0, and that's it. And it does this for, like, all of them, no matter where it's coming from. So, like, you know, even if I were to go to, like, physical integrity down there in the stat changes section and nuke it there, it still won't display below 0.
Very good.
Yep. Where did this... Oh, because I haven't turned off... I was like, why is it at 6? And it's because I didn't turn off the health feed. The auto-calc is working. Besides that, you know, like, if I apply a wound... Oh, whoops. I forgot that I had to do this copy-paste. Sorry about that. Why are you erroring? Oh, because kept the equal in there. I'll do it. There you go. Now if I ticker the wound... Really? Even though it... Told it not to? Oh. I didn't remove that logic. You know, you think you do it. And then you realize that you haven't. Alright. I'm gonna fix that anyway, but found a glitch. Anyway. I fucked up a parenthesis somewhere. My bad. But I'll fix that in a second. Here's the other thing. If I just jam out like a bunch of evasion and then like, you know, change it so that way it's different. See how all that's there? If I click the sprint, bonk, it halves it for you now. And let's say I click the dodge. The dodge bonus also gets halved appropriately. Because sprint takes your final result and then halves it.
Yeah, you are definitely doing work here. Holy crap.
This is also why it's taking me so damn long. But this was just more to like run you through where it's at. You can see if you click on conditions and utilities. The utilities aren't in there, but the conditions sure are. At least the negative ones. I'm going to put in a box for the positive ones. And then put in like the various utilities. After that, I need to make max bulk calculate on the items and notes section correctly. And I need to have the scar type thing do the auto-populate, which is just going to be time-consuming, but I know how to do it. After that, depending on things, if perks are done or not, I might be able to account for perks, and then other than that, I'll be good to go.
Well, it's looking great. I wish I had more to say on this, but like you're covering so much that I would not have thought of.
I've gotten a good amount of experience, considering that this is like the 10th sheet version that I've made overall, probably.
Knowing how to program in Excel is a life skill that everybody will love you for in every job ever.
Yeah, which I do actually have. It's just that Google Sheets is also slightly different, which throws me off a bit.
Yeah,
I know how to code in VBA.
I know how to code in Google Docs. However, I have been asked to stop making things so fancy because nobody can fix it if it breaks.
Anyways, I just fixed the damage tracker thing. So now if I click a tier 3 wound and I flicker that, you can see that the quick reference changes, but the damage tracker, unconscious, and dead points don't.
Excellent.
So cool, fix that. I just had to go through and edit the parentheses. But yeah, no, besides that, obviously, like, you know, flickering the brace and the dodge maneuvers change their associated things correctly. You know, yada yada yada. So on and so forth. And any other important things of note? How do you guys feel about the ability slots tab? Ignore my little board pattern that I made just to fill the space visually.
Your what pattern?
If you
Go
scroll
to the
over
right.
go to the right.
Oh.
And then to the top. Yeah.
I made the rows and I just copy pasted it. It took like 20 seconds.
I would
And
have to cover that up personally because that actually distracts the crap.
Oh yeah, I know. I did it because I was bored. I'm getting rid of that.
Good, because it visually irritates me. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no. It was literally I'm bored and I'm taking 20 seconds to do something. The bullshit. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. I've already seen this, so I'll let Zim preview and make his calls. I'm fine with it personally.
There you go. It's gone. You're free.
I don't know if that's worse or not.
What, just the blank space?
Here, I gotta fix. Gotta fix.
Oh no.
We're gonna make a rainbow?
That's also a good idea, but I decided not to. I'm just gonna put a big white box there. And now it's appropriate. Hold on, I put that in the wrong spot. It's got to be here. Now it's a long cat.
I think
My
this pisses
devs,
him off
everyone.
more.
My devs, everyone. Anyways, I've been seeing a lot of this as is along the way as you've been working on it. I am good with this. I think this looks really good. Should be very easy to use, with a little bit of explanation, of course.
Yeah.
But then again, everything, every character sheet needs a bit of explanation. But at the same time, this is, I think, much easier to use than before.
Yeah. Besides that, obviously there's just the various other like slight updates that I did to some stuff. The other neat one is if you look at like the front page, the stat sheet, like just come up with some sort of bullshit custom skill name in the custom skills. Unless you just want me to.
Reading.
BS name. BS name is going to number 3 because that's average. And there's the one that you said. We'll put that at a 5 because Zim said it.
I didn't say breed. Oh my god.
Well, now it's. I think we should leave it, and now I have to add this to one of my characters.
Look, I know what
No.
you actually said, but it sounded like this a bit, and then so I went with the joke.
For
The joke
the
is funnier.
record on stream and all that, I said reading as in reading a book.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Now is
but
it.
this was funnier. This was so much funnier.
What if you want to play as a monster rancher, or a Pokemon breeder, or, you know, someone who's a professional in animal husbandry?
Oh yeah, you know, hey guys, look at the XP sheet and then look at the EXP purchases. Scrolling down a little bit.
Nice, actually.
Very nice.
And just to make sure,
Oh my.
you see it happening. I'm editing the front sheet right now.
I see.
Oh.
I can also just change all this. It auto
Good.
changes.
Does the same work for expertise for the custom?
No, but I can make it.
Okay.
Do that. If I just real quick, that's 019 equals 019.
Don't you have to have it in parentheses?
Oh, oops. No, because I just forgot to put the stat sheet thing in front
Okay.
to make it reference a different thing.
Oh, right.
So if I do that, it does that. And then I take the code for teamwork. And I tell it to go down one, and then if I change this to a 3... Yep, alright, cool, there you go.
You're good.
Works now.
Yep, you're good.
It does it now. There you go. Have fun. But yeah, no, that's the other big change that I just kind of like made, because I was like, hey, if I have the boxes there anyway, I might as well make it so it just works how it should. Make it easier on everyone, because people are gonna come up with custom stuff anyway. Like, you know, I know Thales has the devotion expertise.
Yep.
So, like, you know, people are gonna come up with fun little custom things, so I might as well make the sheet accommodate it. But yeah, no, anyway, I'm getting kind of close to being done, besides some really complicated bullshit, but, you know, that's fine. As you can see, the sheet is, like, literally almost so ready to use. And then I'm gonna pass it to you guys. You guys are gonna, like, you know, fuck around with it and figure out what breaks, and then I'll fix it, and then we can push it out publicly.
Sounds like a plan.
But as you can see, most of it is working. And I've actually kind of had to stop myself a couple times from just going, could I just, like, make a fork of this temporarily to use for some of my character sheets? Because some of this is really nice, actually.
Most of it is really nice. Possibly all of it.
No, I fucked up somewhere.
That's why
No
I said
chance that I did.
possibly.
No, I definitely am fucking up somewhere on this. There's no chance that I'm not.
There's programming involved. Somewhere somebody's going to put a banana in and it's going to explode. Somebody will ask to use the bathroom and the sheet will cease to function.
Yep. But yeah, no, that's it should be good. Should be good. I'm considering telling the current HP box to lock, because people are going to automatically change it, and it won't auto-update for them anymore once they do that.
I would definitely lock it. Because we are going to forget to tell everybody, or somebody's going to, you know, not listen. And they're gonna break it.
Show a warning when editing this range. Changes saved. Close. So now if I edit that. Heads up, you're trying to edit a part of the sheet that shouldn't be changed accidentally. Edit anyway? Okay, cancel. Cancel. Cancels the update. Cool.
That works.
There you go. And then if they like, you know, try and look at it, it's just going to say, please use damage tracker. So there we go.
If you
I want
break
to use.
this,
I already want to be using the new move boxes. That's or I guess ability box, but
I want to be using all of it already, but you know.
well, yeah, but mostly the. I love my moves and weapons and shit. So I guess I could make it work. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's Oh, the other thing that I did, I made it so that way accuracy changes, like, you know, if I just did do that and then add in some random amounts of damage change. If you look in the ability slots tab, there's a new column. So now you're able to see how much accuracy and damage you have with each one. By your stat changes with the accuracy and damage. So you could still just look over there and then look at your added accuracy and power. And, or I guess the power doesn't matter as much, but like, you know, when you do your damage roll, you can just still look over real quick. Also, it tells you the added proc % chance from accuracy. By the way, fun fact, that's the maximum amount of added proc chance that you can get by base. This is also assuming that your stat changes go unfucked with. Which, if you're planning on that, you know, you're probably going to win anyway. But, yeah, fun. Sheet's gonna be good. Hopefully. Now that I've said that, it's gonna burn in a fucking tire fire by random glitch the moment we try and put it out.
As such is the rule of everything.
Such as law.
Now that you said that, Google is just going to randomly delete it, and yeah.
Well, on the plus side, I made it once, I can damn well make it again.
And Google does have a save this or recover feature, thankfully.
Yeah.
No phone, I'm not talking to you. Thank you.
But
Sure?
yeah, in all seriousness, I should have this ready by next update.
Excellent.
Should. Provided that my work does not try and actually kill me. Currently, the machines that need to be debugged, the current going rate is we're getting an influx of about 80 per 2-hour period, so 40 an hour. Servers per hour, I should say.
I zoned out. What'd you just say, Tal?
At my work, the current influx of machines that debug needs to look at is about 40 per hour on a 12-hour shift.
That's why my brain shut off, because I don't even want to think about stuff right now. Got it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If my work does not continue attempting to actually kill me, then they'll be done by end of month.
Fair enough. I cannot argue this. Alright, so we got about an hour left.
Yep.
Unless we want to wrap up early.
I mean, I'd rather go through the combat section, like finish going through that.
Yeah, let's do that. And we can also sit here and tell Keith how adorable he is.
This is true.
No. But there's work to be done, even if I'm not terribly helpful.
You're very
You are
helpful,
very
Keith.
helpful.
Pat, pat.
No.
You are adorable
Picks up the
and
key.
very helpful.
Yeah, you could almost say that right now. You're the key to our emotional success.
Emotional support key. Pat, pat, pat.
I guess I'm emotional support proof now.
Is that a bad thing? The silence is deafening.
The silence is acceptance.
I also just sent him a meme. Key adorable.
Alright, so we updated turn order. Next up, to a attack. Which, should I be doing it that way, or should I just be like to drop the numbers? I guess that would be a good question to ask. Or actually, have we gone through all of this?
We've lightly touched on a lot of this. There was one thing I wanted to bring up with parry, which is something that I actually knew for a bit, but I also did.
Parry is a different thing altogether.
Yeah. But because you said, did we go through all this? I know that we.
I thought you were talking about the flow and mechanics.
Oh no. I'm just saying, like, there was something earlier that I wanted to go over, but
Well, let's go over it.
all right. So parry. It makes sense not being able to accuracy parry something that's not directly in your square if it's an AoE, but I still feel like people should be able to, like, power parry it for themselves. Like, maybe not be able to power parry it for everyone being hit for their own personal roll. Because, currently, quote, I go to the correct. You cannot parry an AoE effect unless it is centered on the space that you're in. I think it makes sense for accuracy parry, not being able to, like, you know, accuracy parry something that isn't centered on you. But, like, you know, if someone, like, puts a bomb at your feet, I guess, like, not at feet, but if there's a bomb, like, a little bit away, you should be able to, like, try and power parry it for yourself. At least in my opinion. What do you guys think?
This would reduce the damage for everybody?
No, just for you.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking.
And that restriction of it being centered on the space you are in, I could see that also being done away with. Because otherwise you just get those people that are like, I'm just going to put it right next to you, and now you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Which, I'm actually fine if that turns off your ability to accuracy parry it. But, power parry, it probably shouldn't turn off your power parry. I don't know if you were paying attention, but this also, like, did come up during the Vayne versus Nazer thing that happened yesterday, where, Nazer put an AoE 5 feet away from him, and so he couldn't parry, even power. Which, I knew that I knew the effect that would have the moment it was brought up, and then I was just like, design-wise, I realized, hey, wait, I should probably really be able to power parry this still right now. So that's why I'm bringing this up, but
I think
it came up.
We can let people parry and reduce the damage.
I am saying that we should probably limit it to power because it doesn't make too much sense for accuracy parry.
Hi, Mattio.
Hey, Mattio.
Oh, hey, Mattio.
Mario.
Just stopping in to say goodnight.
All right. I hope you sleep well. You're a good boy.
Yeah.
Pat the
You rest well when you choose to rest, which I know isn't for a while.
Love ya.
But yeah. See you guys.
Bye. That was adorable.
It was. Okay, anyway, I don't really think you should be able to accuracy parry if it's not centered on you. But power parry, I feel like that should remain available.
I agree on no parrying accuracy. But yeah, parrying the damage, I can be okay with that, yeah.
Yeah. So long, also specifying that it's only towards you. Other people being affected by the AoE will have damage applied as normal, not considering your parry.
That is agreed.
Good to go.
Yep, cool. That was just something I wanted to bring up because it came up literally last night. And it was something where I knew exactly what the rules interaction was there when Digi did it to me. And then I was thinking afterwards, like, I should really be able to power parry that, actually. Design-wise. Definitely didn't argue it in the moment because that is the actual valid book rules interaction.
You handled it precisely how you should.
Yep. It also says something that I already knew what the exact rules interaction was the moment that he did it. So I probably should have also accounted for that, like, properly already, but I was just like, oh, you know, it's fine for balance reasons, and then I realized, hey, wait, power parry. Power parry exists. Because I was only thinking about it with the accuracy parry in mind, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then, oops. Fucky wucky. Anyway. We could probably scroll back down now that we, have gotten to the thing that I wanted to bring up real quick.
Yeah, I am just, making notes.
Yep.
Do we have any other major ones we want to tackle tonight?
I guess there's one more that I could bring up.
Okay, because we got about 20 minutes, so...
I thought we had,
What do you
like,
mean,
an hour.
funny? Yeah.
I thought we had 20 minutes.
No, we're going till... We were starting an hour late and going an hour later.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
On parry, a quick idea for a feat that I just had is an upgrade for parry where you can, reduce the damage of a AoE for everyone probably behind you in relation to it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. We should also probably actually make that repose feat.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we already know exactly what the mechanics of it are. We just haven't put it in.
Do we?
At least for an accuracy repose, we do. Where it basically considers, you know, if the opponent is within range of your attack and you are parrying them, and your successes on your parry minus their successes on their attack would lead to them getting hit, you get to hit them. Basically, turning it around and treating it like it's the enemy parrying you, and if you would hit them, you hit them. Those were the mechanics we discussed, like, forever ago. I don't know how to interact with damage properly, besides the whole, like, you know, you're just, like, counter-blasting them, but that also, that has bad implications if we just go with that version.
I was gonna
I would
say
say
dumb
you
random.
can... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I was gonna say dumb random thought. If you're going to allow a power riposte, it needs to be called overpower.
Well, yeah, but,
I would say
the
repose is only on accuracy.
yeah, that's fair. It should also probably be in the parry tree and take an additional reaction to use. Because if it's already in the parry tree, the first, like, required parry thing would be the, what was it, efficient parrying, which makes it so that way your first parry doesn't take a reaction, so you would still have your reaction to use for this. Basically, by God, the second best in the best build in the game, which is most of Narashi's build, should not be able to also just freely repose everything for always. It's not a good idea to do that. So it should definitely have a reaction cost to it.
To the repose?
Yeah, to the repose.
Okay.
Takes an additional reaction to use. But make it locked behind the efficient parrying feat. That way they can still use it even if they just pick up those 2 feats. So I think it's efficient parry. Yeah, it's called efficient parry.
Alright, requires reaction. Alright, so I put in the notes there, let me know if it looks like I got it.
When you say hit after subtractions, just because I know you're the one who actually needs to read, you do know that means like accounting for their accuracy successes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. In that case, yep.
So like they roll 5, you roll 10, their evasion is 5, you would hit.
Yeah. Yeah. But if their evasion was 6, you'd miss. I guess the only other note is you don't get to know if your parry would hit them or not before you activate repose. You have to burn the reaction first in order to know if it hits or not. Because you're making the attempt, effectively. So, if their evasion is a 6 and you haven't accounted for that correctly or like clocked that correctly and you think they're a 5 and you try and repose, you don't get to know if you hit or not before you if you were to hit or not, if you would activate repose, you don't get to know that before you pay the reaction.
Fair enough.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you don't have a magical sense of knowing if your repose would hit. It's just, you have to activate it if you think you would hit.
Alright, got that noted.
Cool.
So what was next?
The other thing that I was going to bring up is the whole 1.5 times cost on Strike, because multiple people did agree that that was stopping them from investing in Strike.
I am definitely okay with revisiting that, but I don't know what to do with it.
So there's one thing that I didn't really want to speak into existence too much right now, which is since Strike can be upgraded like a move, and it just costs more. I guess it is technically... Strike is in a very weird position where it goes by EXP and power caps, but also simultaneously does not go into action categories based on said EXP and power caps. So either it makes sense to invest all the way in it or like not at all. But it's also more expensive to invest in it. So, beyond picking up like, maybe a little bit of power or accuracy, like a little bit, I legitimately don't know anyone that's actively properly invested in Strike. And when I talk to people, a lot of them do note the 1.5 times cost.
Okay, back up a bit. What were you talking about earlier with the action and such?
So
Like,
technically
what exactly
speaking,
do you not want to... I'm a little confused on what you don't want to speak into existence.
because if you make it so that way, you can up it, like, strikes are just existing as, like, under the same rules as moves. If you get a quick action strike, you could put Fury on it.
I definitely think Strike will stay as a standard action, no matter what.
Yeah. However, because of that, it also doesn't make sense to only partially invest in Strike, unless beyond like putting an extra accuracy or power on it or two. Beyond that, it makes almost no sense to invest in it because it's more expensive, and it only becomes worth it if you actually, like, utilize the power and XP cap on it because of that. Otherwise, you're basically using a half-baked move for a standard action that's also more expensive to invest in. And it has a really nice effect on it, and Strike is strong, but people aren't investing into it as a part of their character, and it's being power crept by moves and the like. As games go on, and it's no longer within... I think Strike stays pretty useful within the first 3 character tiers, and then after that, it's just like, even if I invest in this, it's way more expensive. Why would I do that? So, a lot of the people that I talk to, because of the special things around Strike, intentionally don't invest in it because of stuff like the XP cost and the value proposition. Because if you invest, let's say, 30 XP into a move, you can make that a quick action move. That's pretty nice. That's handy. You're not using too much XP on it. And, like, it's not the most filled out move, but, you could use it as a quick action. With Strike, you invest 30 XP, but in order to get 30 XP, you actually need to invest 45 XP for 30 XP worth of benefit, and it's still a standard action instead of a quick action. So why would I put 45 XP into my Strike as compared to making a 30 to 45 XP quick action?
Alright, so do you have a suggestion on what to do here?
A good bit of the problem can be removed if we just remove the 1.5 times XP cost. Because the main problem with it right now, and multiple people have said this to me, is the value of it. Where they're saying that it doesn't make sense to invest in Strike if I could just make a quick action move instead. And not burn a bunch of XP. Because this would be like the equivalent of going, okay, I have a 30 XP quick move, like XP cap. Like, I'm attribute 10 through 14. Just in this example. And I want to make a quick action move. I want to upgrade my character in combat. Would I rather invest some extra power into Strike and spend 45 XP to get 6 power? Or would I rather do something like grab a move and make it so that way it's a type that I don't have access to normally, so it gives me coverage, and I make a 30 XP quick action move that's of a coverage type to me, and that costs 45 XP from the 15 XP tax for not having affinity with a type and picking up a move for it. Like that is an example that someone gave me for like, why would I do that instead of this?
Yeah, but at the same time, there's also the consideration of the double hit. Bless you. The double hit stun.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which the double hit stun is a pretty nice effect. It's the equivalent of, a temporary evasion -1 and a temporary integrity -1 of just whatever type of strike you're using. Which is nice. It's definitely a strong thing. But I just want to point out that, again, do you know of anyone that's actually been actively upgrading their strike beyond throwing, maybe a little bit of power and accuracy on it? A little bit.
I'd love to see someone make their strike ranged.
I don't know anyone, no. But it's like you can use it and a regular move in the same turn without either of them suffering penalties.
Yep, but you can do that now with just punch them. You can get a feat that lets you do the same thing. So you could strike, hit them with an attack, and use just punch them all in the same turn. Already.
I think, as much as people are saying the XP cost is driving them away, I think most people don't fully understand strike enough.
I mean, that's fair, because people are not using it as much as they really should, especially in team versus boss. In team versus boss, by God, the first couple people should really just be trying to strike the boss in initiative. Especially if the boss is doubling up their turns instead of spreading it. But people are not interacting with this. And even I don't know if we should really change the balancing of it or just try and give it a rebrand so that way people want to interact with it. But I feel like something needs to get done with it because people are not using it or interacting with it. And that's telling me that there's some sort of design problem with it. And the big one that a bunch of people are listing is the XP.
The XP I can see being a reason.
Yeah.
I don't think people value hit stun as highly as they should.
Yeah. But this is also the equivalent of saying, if I invest 50 XP into my strike, I'm giving up the ability to have bought a feat. Because that would cost 75 XP to put 50 XP into the strike.
I think part of it is that people are not building their characters having strike in mind. And that's so true. That XP cost is prohibitive of them employing strike as part of their build. Because most people, when they're building characters for Scar, they're not looking to have the generic strike ability. They're looking to have, all the fancy iconic abilities that their character is going to eventually possess and use. And I think that's probably what is preventing people more than the cost modifier itself. And so in turn, they're also viewing strike as less valuable than it actually is, and so they're not using it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how to really fix that.
So you're saying that you think there's a sunk cost fallacy in play as well?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, definitely possible, yeah.
Because admittedly, the only character I was planning on putting any level of strike on was Jace.
It's just like I do know that later on the the penalties in multi-attack are people are going to get more and more multi-attacks
Especially if
later
they
into
pick
the
up the
game.
feat that, yeah. Especially if they pick up the feat that, like, lowers the multi-attack penalty and makes it so they can do it with a single standard action. Because there's 2 feats that do each of those. So
Yeah.
multi-attack gets more and more valuable as well if you just invest a little bit of XP into the feats.
Do you...
The most I can think of is reducing the cost or the increased cost, but I don't know what else we can do aside from adjusting to make it balance, that is.
Yeah.
Because we also don't want it to just be, well, this is a standard action move, but better.
Yeah.
Because it's got the hit stun and it doesn't, have multi-attack penalties.
My brain came up with a couple options, but none of them seem good. To voice them to the void, one thing that could be done is instead of just making it upgradable as a move, you could treat it like a primeval feature that everybody gets. And it could just have set upgrades that you can give to it.
Bro.
Which not optimal for what it's supposed to be, but it's there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a good way of putting it is, in terms of strike support, Lamau, what strike support? I don't think we, support strike with anything else right now.
To be
That's
fair,
also true.
We use strike as the basis for other things, like feats, like splash, for example, in water, I know is there, or the sharpened edges for metal affinity. So I know that we allow strike to, upgrading your strike to affect those, but we don't have anything that actually supports strike. So it's strike supporting other things, not the other way around.
Actually, it's a good thing you brought those up as well, because that lends even more reason not to, that lends more reason to be very, very cautious about reducing the cost.
Yeah. So if we make, planned upgrades for strike itself that don't have an increased cost, but instead, have their own thing so they can't just, because I know the way that those work, for example, is it goes off of the strike's accuracy and then just deals a flat 1 damage. Which, if it's rolling the strike, then technically speaking, they should be taking the strike hit stun penalty too. So that might want to be addressed. But anyway, the thing about it is just that like Strike has no support, and it supports like a handful of other things. I think Fire Affinity has another one that like glances off slightly, but you know, it's just kind of a thing where Strike is kind of left in the weird place where, because of the cost, people don't want to invest in it. There's a couple things that it buffs, but like in a very specific way, and there's no actual support for it. As a base concept, it's extremely helpful, and people need to utilize it more, and they're chronically undervaluing it. However, this does not change the fact that they're probably also looking at it and going, well, there's no support for this. I'm just upgrading this one thing, and it's more expensive, so why would I do that?
All right. So what kinds of things would you suggest on the upgrading support front? Also, as far as those things go, I will fix the rules as written, but even with the rules as written, that would still be up to interpretation. But the intention behind them is, no, the hit stun does not apply with those feats.
Yeah, well, that wasn't very clear, because I also thought that it does apply hit stun, because it's an attack and hitting someone. Like, you have to roll accuracy, and you deal damage.
No. The intention there was that you could upgrade your strike and also thus make these other things better, but you're not actively using strike itself. Strike was kind of intended to be a foundation for other things to build on in the system.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I should clarify something. The metal one, the sharpened edges wouldn't apply hit stun, but I thought that's like splash would. Or whatever. I think there was a fire one, right? Either way. Yeah, it's called Fiery Burst. Either way. I guess it does say on the thing. For Fiery Burst, it says this does not cause hit stun, but Splash it does not say this does not cause hit stun.
Alright, I will fix
That's
that.
probably why I didn't know, because I hadn't looked at the fire version of it. I just remember that there was a fire version. And the water version does not say that it doesn't apply hit stun. So, yeah, that would make it. I actually know how to play Victoria 3 Jit, so I can help you with that. Just not right now, because we're doing Dev. I like Victoria 3.
Question. While Zim is correcting things, the Sunder Maneuver says it's an attack being made against a weapon or other piece of equipment. So, as part of Sunder, are you using an attack, or is Sunder itself an attack?
You're using an attack to try and sunder something.
Okay, so you could use Strike to Sunder.
Yeah, but that doesn't do anything.
Why wouldn't it, though?
Because items are not subject to hit stun.
But they are being worn or wielded by a creature.
Yeah, but you're not actually attacking the creature itself. You're attacking the item, and the item being worn is compared to the owner's evasion score, but it is not technically speaking going against the owner. So the owner does not take hit stun from a Sunder attempt.
What if there was an upgrade so that Strike could apply hit stun on a Sunder attempt?
I mean, I guess, but at that point you're still giving up. I mean, I guess not giving up, but that would also then assume that you've upgraded your Sunder into being the same like the same power level as a move, which people are not doing. But I mean, I guess that is like a pretty decent like feat idea in general to make hit stun from sunder attempts apply to the person being sundered, and that would like also indirectly buff strike, or we could make it a strike specific thing.
I was thinking strike specific because, as you said correctly, we have very little to no strike support. So one
Yeah.
of the solutions to that is to create some strike support. And since it's meant to be foundational and interact with other things, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of a thing where it's strong, but it doesn't have support, so people probably don't want to invest in it because of that.
Exactly. So the support that we give it doesn't have to actually make it that much stronger. It just has to facilitate people understanding how strong it actually is. Alone, allowing strike to effectively, properly sunder things and affect the person that may be holding them, because of course, hit stun is not going to matter against an unattended object. But that is a reason for people to look at that, especially if they're encountering equipment-wearing enemies or bosses. And, you know, the storyteller makes it very clear you probably will not be looting their equipment. Because we all know that players want to loot all the equipment.
I guess if there is a thing to try and use strike to support its other maneuvers. So, like, there might be one where, as a part of a strike, you could try and make a disarm attempt or something.
Yeah.
So making strike support other things, but, like, giving it value proposition is, like... Because strike itself doesn't really need a buff.
It really doesn't.
I will admit, strike is a lot less useful in, like, a one-on-one scenario. But, like, group versus boss, extremely good. Even in, like, group battles, so long as there's, like, a strong opponent that multiple people are focusing on, strike in a team-based format becomes a whole lot better. I guess I should say.
Yeah. And the other thing is, strike also technically has to compete with things like brace and aim.
Yeah. Well, well, when it says compete with, it's already better than those usually.
Action economy wise, it has to compete with them.
Action economy wise, you're competing. Yeah.
And I was very serious about my side comment earlier. I do want to see somebody upgrade their strike with range so that they can use it at range if they need to. Because I think that's another thing, is you've got a number of characters that may have to stay at range, either because they're squishy or that's the kind of character they are, and they have an opportunity where they could be using strike as a support move, support attack, sorry, and they can't because they're out of range. Me shaking the monitor vigorously. Please, people, add range to strike.
Like Raijin is pointing out, it's like you have an ally with overcrit. They go last. Everyone else in the party uses strike. Guess what? That ally, yeah, they're pretty much guaranteed to overcrit now.
Yep. Which also is like part of the reason why I brought up it's a lot better in team formats, and also people need to order their team better instead of just letting everything fall where it lies.
Me staring at the currently, at least as far as I know, unused primeval initiative.
Oh, I use it with Vayne. Vayne uses it. Vayne uses it very heavily. Vayne just doesn't get to use it very often. Vayne loves primeval initiative.
Like, y'all, have none of you played Monachemia? There's a blonde boy that uses cards as a weapon. He manipulates the initiative tracker all the time. It's fun.
No, but like unironically, most of not most of, but like no, Vane's main strategy revolves around fucking with initiative. But like regardless of that, strike.
There's a couple of ways that we can move forward with this. Because one option is just to leave it alone and like actively just mention it more.
I mention it every chance I get.
Alternatively, there is the whole adding layers of support thing as feeds.
Yeah.
I think are the two viable options we brought up so far.
Like, we might just need to do the classic thing of this thing is busted, but people refuse to use it. So like, give it like token support, and like once people start using it, they'll realize.
The whole, hey, just tell all GMs that y'all get to add one special thing to your strike from this list. Here, go.
But like making it so that way, like, you know, it supports other maneuvers is probably with feat cost. Feat cost supports other maneuvers, or you get to do other maneuvers with a strike. Is probably like a pretty decent one that like doesn't directly buff strike but adds support. Because like, you know, if I do a strike attempt and I get to also try and like yank away a piece of equipment, that suddenly sounds a whole lot better in like, you know, a setting in game where people are actively using equipment.
Also, just so that the players know how dangerous strike can be, more battles with mooks. Because you know what mooks can do?
They can strike. I love using mooks to strike.
Yes. Oh, the mooks don't
All
have
of
to
your
have
evasions and integrities are permanently at 0 while you're being mobbed, just the way it should be.
Exactly. It doesn't have to happen all the time, but once it happens once or twice, and both the audience and the players see this happen, they'll realize, oh, this is far stronger than we gave it credit for.
I might have had plans for that tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh, yay.
Yay!
Hooray! Combat with mooks!
With the characters I didn't build to be dealing with that.
You say, as I know what Thales has up their wings.
Also, regardless of if Nova gets hit with a lot of strikes, he still has a ridiculous health pool and a lot of healing, so...
Look,
gives you
Thales
the mooks.
is a ranged ethereal attacker. I made a ranged dude.
Nice.
Yes, and I know the kind of moves that they have on them. You acting like you don't have crowd control.
And as far as that goes, it is dependent on where the players go tomorrow. But there is the option of many, many mooks.
Okay, so clearly they have to go into the equivalent of the It's a Small World ride, where all the animatronics are going to come to life because they're actually other Pokemon that have been enslaved by Bidney. Or like brainwashed or something.
Don't make that song enter my head, please. Ugh.
I like this idea, Key.
You're welcome.
Key, come here.
No.
Come here, Key.
No.
Picks up the key.
No.
It's bedtime now, Key. Come on.
No. I'm on vacation. I don't got a bedtime. Meh.
Should I ask Canis about that?
He's asleep. He's going to go into work later so he can get his paycheck. I was allowed to stay up till midnight yesterday. I'm fine. How dare you?
How dare I what? Be concerned for Mikey.
I'm being...
This has nothing to do with you making me go through that song. No.
But yeah, are we
It's a
fine with
small
the?
world after all.
So are we fine with making Strike like interact with the other maneuvers a little bit to give it some like technical support while also not just like hard buffing it?
I am okay. Excuse me. I'm okay with that. We just gotta figure out how to go about that.
Yeah.
In a way that
Of
wouldn't
which
be broken.
feats are 25 XP a pop anyway, so that is a whole ass purchase. You could
Wait.
you could make a
25 XP. What?
For a
for
feat.
feats. So if you make a feat that has Strike interact with another maneuver, that's 25 XP right there. But if you make it so that way, like, you know,
I thought you were talking about making Strike like interact in without an XP cost. So that way.
No.
No.
This is for feats. This is so that way you still pay for the buff you're getting, but we can list out that Strike has received support in the patch notes, not lie, and make people actually damn well use it.
All right, so I guess come up with because I think I'm gonna be calling it at this point. My
Okay.
that's,
I mean, we
kinda-
only had like 15 minutes left.
yeah.
Yeah.
My
we could wait
ADHD is
it.
getting so bad right now for some reason. Let's go ahead and use the Scar Dev channel to workshop how that interaction will work, and hopefully be able to have something to go for the next update. And yeah,
Also, Gabby, you're thirsty.
okay. And the sky is blue. What's your point?
I felt the need to call it out after his last comment.
He is also an uncultured swine.
Yeah, and the grass is green. We got that part too.
Oh, right. After this, are we doing the watch party so we can see how bad it was?
We got something else we got to do.
Yeah, we got something else we gotta do.
We could probably do the watch party early next week, though.
Yeah, so long as it's like planned out.
Yeah.
I'm good with it on Monday.
Monday should be fine, yeah.
Actually,
Ah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I forgot this upcoming Monday we'll have agents.
Key's dad
It
visits
depends when on
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
I mean, it's fine if I'm not there. I'm sure I can find the video somewhere.
It was the house flipper video from last night. The second one.
Ah. Oh, I could have seen that live and gotten on Gab's case. God damn it.
Well, why did you come to the stream?
I don't remember.
I think I was holding him hostage at the time. No, you were watching a movie with Canis.
That's right. I was watching El Dorado with Canis.
Yes.
We were having boyfriend's time.
Ah.
It's also why I was allowed to stay up till midnight.
There was a caveat. I just didn't mention it. Tuesday should be fine as long as it's not too late.
Funnily enough for me, mine was Tuesday should be fine so long as it's not too early.
6 p.m.?
I won't even be. I likely won't even be get like home then, and I have a game on Tuesday usually.
7?
If I don't have the game on Tuesday, I could show up at 7 on Tuesday.
Oh my god.
What do you want from me?
Is this Saturday when we don't have recallers?
We have recallers this Saturday.
I thought Key wasn't
I am
going
just
to be...
absent.
Yeah, Key's going to be absent, but we're still going to go.
What is Paint gonna do?
interact with the rest of the world.
Are you sure you want him to do that?
I mean, look, there's other players.
The other times that Paint has interacted with the world, he brought a world eater back home. He went and got a very, very large blanket made.
I mean, I had no one, like, even though there's a part that I would like he to be there for, I didn't have intentions of canceling the game this week.
Oh no, we can do it.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's
Oh no, it's okay. It
fine.
just means Paint has no guidance.
I will attempt to make notes via the recording so that there is still recap time.
I'm starting to get the feeling that I'm doomed tomorrow and that nothing's actually going to get done, which might actually be fine, but I'm going to have to deal with whatever happens. Because all the gremlins are going to be there and there's nobody responsible left.
Oh no, Party Dad is indisposed. What will you do?
I'm not worried about what I do. I have a feeling it's going to be a situation of me just sighing a lot.
Somebody's gonna have to do the recap.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun.
Somebody gets to read the things that I called the druids.
Wait. Things to figure out on Saturday.
Yep. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us today for the stream. That was DevTales as well as an Art Marten stream. Unfortunately, we have a meeting to go over some things for data anomaly hunters in the future therein. So this is where I'm calling the stream altogether. That said, check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. There on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, grabbing packs of cards to Stream Loots, using our Humble Bundle partner link, or subscribing to us on Stream Loots as well as YouTube. But for now, thank you so much for joining, and I bid you the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.
Bye.